What'd you just say to me?
I said you're one of those pagans who has a Christmas tree, isn't it?
Are you one of those guys that's like, oh, you celebrate Easter? Oh, you mean Ishtar?
Well,
Did you hear that?
we all know that like when you put a Christmas tree up, you're worshiping that tree. So that becomes your god
Do you
and it becomes your idol.
do
And
you
do
hear this
rabbits
weird
lay
echo?
eggs?
Am I? Oh my gosh. Do you hear this? Do you hear this? Is it just me?
I think you have an echo.
Oh my gosh, what is happening? Like this has never happened.
Let me see.
Do you hear this?
Maybe it is. Hold on.
Very professional. This is great. It didn't happen on either of our ends just before we went live. You hear the
Is there
echo,
an
right?
echo?
It's just me. It's got to be you because you're reacting.
Hello?
I
You
hear
an echo?
myself on a delay. Do you hear it?
No.
You don't hear it? Okay, I'm going crazy. I hear the episode. I hear us live. Oh my gosh. Like 5 seconds after I say it, I hear it. This is bananas.
BANNIEGR bananas. Is that how you spell bananas?
If nobody else hears what I'm hearing, it just sounds like I'm going crazy, so I apologize. Okay. This is wonderful. Why is this happening? This is a new problem. Every time we come on, it's a new problem.
Hello.
Hi.
Echo?
Yes. Okay, wait, when I talk, so when I say, so hello. It's a 10-second delay. What is happening? I'm gonna jump out and jump back in. John, you you enjoy our little intro here. Why is this happening? I can't think within myself talk. Oh my gosh. My brain's breaking.
We broke Mr. Westford, everyone. All right. Well, I guess there's no intro, and it's just me. I hope all of you guys have had a wonderful Thanksgiving and if you guys have a Christmas tree, you're demonic, and because you're worshiping your trees, you lazies. But anyways, as I was saying, I hope you guys have a wonderful Christmas. And I really do mean that from the bottom of my heart. And I hope you guys have a wonderful show. This show is going to be good as long as Wes could, or Nicholas, whatever he wants to be called, wants to have a wonderful show.
Why?
But
Figured it.
we'll see how it goes. And oh, he's back.
So I had dropped the link to this stream in a Discord, and it just started auto playing when I went live, and that's where the audio is coming from. I was like staring at all the tabs, looking at all my levels, like this has never happened. So, anyways, Christmas trees. Do you really think you don't think Christmas trees are like pagan? Do you? You don't actually believe that, do you?
I actually believe it. I think if you want to have a tree growing in your living room, then you ornament it. And it's pagan.
Wow, the pagan gods are the ones who actually invented trees. I learned this from Ben Carson. He was like, if you read the Bible, actually read the Bible, you'll find that the pagan god Ishtar was the one that created trees. He killed Tiamat and chopped his body up, planted it in the ground, and that's how you got trees. If you watch the movie Moana, you'll find they believe something very similar. Did you know the Bible actually teaches Moana cut the eel's guts, planted it, and that's how you got coconuts?
It's in the Sinai Bible. It's in the Sinai Bible. You know, the Sinai Bible from Mount Sinai.
Oh man, that was so. What you're referencing is, and I can pull it up. I should have got my time marks, but I watched it while I was at work today. There, you want to give the introduction? What is it we're going to be doing, like as a launching off point?
We're going to be looking at our good friend Ben Carson, or Billy Carson. And
I'm going to be honest. Every time I hear his name, I still think of that conservative guy, the black conservative dude who's like, my mama was a doctor or whatever. Isn't that Ben Carson?
Oh, yeah, I know who you're talking about. I can't remember his name.
Well, anyways, yeah, we're watching Billy Carson, who's a weird new agey guy, versus someone that I'm predisposed to have a bias in favor of. His name is Wesley Huff. I don't quite know. He's a historian, maybe a philologist. I'm not quite sure, but he goes to different places such as Egypt, and he takes his little hammer and his little duster and goes tink, 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 and looks at papyrus, which they talked about papyrus way too long for a little bit of it.
Yeah, it's this guy seems he seems pretty basic. He seems to know what he's talking about. So I mean, he hasn't said anything that I haven't disagreed with yet, but let's just go.
And nothing too much. And we're just going to kind of start. I'm going to play it. There's a couple of interesting places. So what's going on here is we got this guy I've never heard of until now, John Clash, who's kind of a evangelical guy. The only thing I really got out of like what he's anti new age stuff, which good on him, but he's also like very sola fide, once saved, always saved stuff. So I thought that would be an interesting part of that if I can find it for us to talk about.
Between advanced technology and ancient civilizations.
Oh my gosh, I already don't care. Okay, so black guy, really dumb new agey guy. That's all you got to know. Dude with the blazer and the t-shirt that says like "make the dream work" or something like that. Whatever he's holding. He's like a new baby evangelical, and he is very much like, picture what you think of an evangelical circa 2011, just like Old Testament, like Marcionitism. It's like the Old Testament God is kind of mean and bad, but I really like that Jesus guy. He's just like a new age feminist that is here to like tell us to like love each other or something, man. That's kind of what I got from him.
Yeah, we just got love. Okay, it's all love.
Right? Yeah. Don't do any meany feeling things.
I believe that.
Good. Do you actually
I'm
believe
curious
that?
for you guys both, and if you want to, I guess, go first, Billy, as to how you came about like the findings where it seems that Jesus was not crucified, or that's not accurate.
Sure. And in my videos, and if you listen to the podcast, the statement is according to the Sinai Bible.
Oh.
Okay. According to the Sinai Bible, Jesus wasn't crucified in that Bible. That Bible predates the King James Version of the Bible. And the text.
You hear that, King James onlyists? You're cooked. Look at me. Look at me.
Come on, in chat. Come on.
Yeah. Like the King James Bible, gotta throw it out. The Sinai Bible was first. You ever heard of that?
There actually is about 12 to 14,000 differences between the Sinai Bible and the King James Version of the Bible, which came much later.
A very interesting sounding person.
You know, and then also one of the things that were interesting is that they discovered the book of Jesus' wife, which is at the Harvard Seminary, which according to some scholars, that's a little controversial, but they claim that this is an accurate record that Jesus may have even been married, which then, you know, adds more, if that's true, it adds more to the hypothesis that maybe he wasn't crucified. I just personally believe that Jesus was an amazing human being. I don't think that he was the Son of God in the sense that he's God.
So you don't believe that in any sense?
But
You can
did
just say
guy
that.
Just drink out of a hammer.
What? Let's go back. That is like a little Thor's hammer.
I
Yeah.
don't think that he was the son.
I get. I'm not trying to be mean or anything, but I do get the feeling that this guy who like looks like a metal guitarist. You ever notice like the metal guitarists? They always have a beard and they're bald.
They're either beard or they're bald or they're super nerdy. That's it.
Yeah, I get the feeling that he's like pop punk, maybe not pop. Yeah, I think just kind of like generic metalcore, generic metalcore rhythm guitarist, who's also shops pretty exclusively at like Hot Topic or what's like like those weird stores inside the mall where it's just like a bunch of Japanese weeb stuff. I
can't sweep on a guitar, but I can chunk. You know?
Oh yeah, I can. Yeah, man, I can get the tone real chonky. You know what I'm saying? I can make that guitar sound real snarly.
I play in drop B, and if you guys don't know what that is, I play in drop B. So, and I might have 7 or 8 strings on my guitar. You don't know.
Wow, I had 6 strings on my bass. Okay, a little bit of housekeeping. Vanamides, are you here? I never see you in chat. You and King Pilled both. You guys are never in my chat. I don't know what's going on. Yeah, true gentleman. Thank you.
Yes. I've never heard that. Wow.
Oh, well.
True gentleman.
Oh, my. I just lost. What's the name of that really? Meshuggah. Oh, my gosh. I haven't put myself into like metal brain in a while. Vanny's
Son of God in the sense that he's God. But that we're all gods, as he said, ye are gods, and that we're to do greater things in him. And
this is exacerbating already.
Everybody, if you have cranberry juice, start drinking your cranberry juice because you got to detox yourself from this.
Like, it's just, have you heard of the word concept fallacy? Have you heard of false equivalency? That's all I think we're going to be getting. I don't even know who I'm currently mimicking with my voice. Could be anybody. I don't really know.
It's like a mixture between
everybody looks like they're all looking the same direction, like they heard somebody say something profoundly stupid. You see, they all look disappointed, like really,
they're
Timmy.
all looking at the hour. There's like this one teleprompter. Like right here. Everyone's like, okay, all right.
You sat here quietly for an hour and that's what you had to say out of everything. Okay. Like, look at it.
Personally believe that the return of the Christ is the return of the Christ consciousness.
Oh my gosh!
Mm-hmm. You see, it's all about your consciousness, my friends.
This stuff. I mean, I feel conflicted whenever like commentating on this stuff because it's like you can only say the same criticism over and over and over and over. I mean, I can if you guys want, but like. My comments would not show up when I use my desktop for months. My mobile would, though. I don't know. I don't see it. Sinai Bible. Jesus has a wife
from
Christ consciousness.
Mount Sinai.
Right.
We can all achieve a certain level of knowledge, wisdom, passion, understanding, empathy, love that he came to this planet with. And we get that in our mind and our conscience, and we can act on that those incredible emotions and that understanding that the whole world is going to transform instantaneously. And I think at the second coming is the coming of the Christ consciousness to the planet, not a human being flying back to Earth to save people. That's just my personal understanding of how I've perceived it over many, many years of going through this information and going through all this text.
The Wesley guy, I feel like he's just a Reacher. You ever seen that show, Reacher, with the Jack dude?
Yeah. Yes.
Very similar physiognomy. And
he's like, where's your shank? Where's your shank?
I'm gonna put my cards on the table and just say that the physiognomy is basically how you can just is how I line up all these people in my ranking. So you got Wesley, obviously at the top, my namesake. So I like I said, predisposed. Just look at him. Then I would say, I don't know. it's kind of a tie between Baldy, what's his name, John Clash, and
Easy.
Mark is the Blazer dude. They kind of, one of them's got a beard, so he's all right, and the other one has hair. So they if you put them together, they're like a whole man. And then I would say at the bottom is obviously I'm not sure. I don't want to sound bad or anything, but like if you look at Ben Carson, like what do you think about him when you see that man? What do you think, John? I'm not trying to like say any, it could be anything about him. What do you think?
He seems like somebody who would like if you farted in front of him, he would try to sue you for defamation for taking his fart away, taking his spotlight. That's what I would say.
I thought you were gonna say like he'd enjoy it or something weird.
I don't think Ben Carson
weirdo.
I don't think he would ever enjoy a fart.
I don't know what he enjoys.
It was the gods. It was the gods. It's just the evil flowing out of your body.
Yeah, everything's depersonalized. It's just Gnostic nonsense.
So he's not coming back to save people. He's coming back to judge the world.
And
so I mean, I'd say,
quick disclaimer for everyone. We kind of have to watch this with this guy over here, this half Matt Walsh dude.
Oh my gosh, now I can't unsee it.
Because Billy Carson had the whole video taken down.
Oh, the video's gone? Oh.
Yeah, it's gone.
Wow, that's a spoiler. I mean, are we in danger of being sued by playing this?
No, it's a reaction of a reaction of a reaction. So
no. Okay.
Wes, I'm gonna let you respond to that. And again, I mean,
okay, all right. Well, he threw the ball to me. Everything you said was completely devoid of logic. You've made everyone here dumber by what you've said. I award you no points.
This is
Wes is he's
everyone listening to the show. I'm always like challenge everything. Learn to critically think and continue to come to your conclusions. Even with Jesus, I'm not personally even waiting on that he has to come back to. I already know I'm, like I said, that strength of God and consciousness is already. I can tap into that right now.
Oh, that I know people that talk like that, and they're usually like Hebrew roots kind of people, like Judaizers. Like God's just like he's like within you, and like you have to like you see, like tap into the source. Just let it in. I will say this guy hasn't believed that very long. He's like a new convert. So what's ahead of him is he's going to get very fat. All the people that believe in that like Christ consciousness, he's just like the power within you. For some reason, use that power to eat a lot of junk food and get real fat.
So
unfortunately, that hairline
you don't have to wait for him to come back.
It's what?
For those that believe he does.
That hairline right there.
Oh.
He's gonna go way back because he's just gonna be like.
Why doesn't he use his divine imagination to just imagine his hairline growing?
I don't know. That's why I ask bald people all the time. It's like, do you not have divine intervention?
Hair grow!
Exactly!
Does to actually have that like next level of what that's supposed to mean.
Yeah, so you can see when Mark is speaking that
he doesn't need to be. That's what I can see. I'm not trying to be mean, but every time he opens his mouth, I go,
yeah,
wow,
but
equal parts adorable and unnecessary.
What are you referring to specifically?
It's the biblical text that was written. It made it into you can actually look it up on Amazon. It's a Bible called, I have a version at home. It's called the Sinai Bible, right, from Mount Sinai. I'm assuming it's the mountain that they're referencing there. But
we know that
they put together their own version of the biblical text prior to the King James Version being put out.
Sure. So when you refer to the
sure
Sinai Bible, would you be referring to
hey, shut up, John.
Sure. I just have to mimic this guy has got way more views than me, so I'm trying to capture whatever he has that's getting all these views.
to Codex Sinaiticus? like
They
the codex that
shake my head.
comes. Okay, that's why I was trying to get some clarification, because so you can actually go and see Codex Sinaiticus is at the British Library, so you can go and see it. It's on display, and the British Library has actually digitized the entire manuscript. So I work with manuscripts in my linguistics.
I'm just gonna too long didn't read. You guys can just go watch this if you want. Maybe it was really interesting. I shouldn't skip over it, but I'm gonna do it anyways. It's my show. He's basically saying you're a complete fraud. Everything you've said is untrue, and I can verify that these are not actual sources. Did you know that? And then he goes, "Oh, I misspoke. I didn't mean that. I meant this other source." And he goes, "Well, actually, we know that's a fraud because they like copied and pasted it from another source, and when they translated it, and it has the same spelling error as this article here. So clearly, it's a fraud. Why do you believe in frauds?" And he's Wesley's very generous. He's like, with all due respect, which is none. I'm not trying to be mean. You're clearly passionate about what you believe. And another thing about this debate, Mark, is Mark supposed to be the moderator?
Yes.
That's because the entire time he's just giving his opinions, his fifis, and then he's like combating Wesley the whole time, which is like the power level between Wesley and Ben Carson is staggering, but him between Mark is he's a wee babe, so I'm not trying to be mean to him, but I can't tell who's.
Well, Mark does have a Muslim wife. He does have a Muslim wife.
That's true. So I wonder what that. Do you think does she wear the pants?
I would think so. She's just like no. Like,
within a year.
But God,
within a year, Mark is going to be wearing a burqa.
Yeah, and like I was saying, like he's like, but God's loving, and his wife's just like, no, jihad. But
burqa, whatever. Yeah.
Burqa.
Yeah, Mark's going to be handmaiden tailed. It's gonna. Is that how you say it? Is that the right verb? He's gonna be wearing. Red scarf. It's a power fantasy, everybody.
So actually, are you able to pull up a website with the like?
I'm looking for it right now to make sure I have the version that I'm looking at.
While he's pulling that up too, like I keep saying to all the people that aren't scientists traveling the world and linguists, I don't even know how to pronounce it the right way, like me.
Linguist?
Cyanide. I keep thinking of cyanide, like the poet. Cyanide Bible. So is that like a version? So
okay, wait.
From my own.
Okay, so there's cyanide. It's a cyanide from the mountain, and then there's cyanide, the poison.
That's cyanide.
It's like, where are we taking this? It's like.
It's a lot of fluff. It is a lot of fluff. The entire debate boils down to.
Isn't it called?
Ben Carson brings up two sources. Wesley says those are demonstrably forgery. Can be demonstrated as forgeries. Do you have anything else? And he goes, well, I talk about other things. We don't have to talk about that. Like I can, it's okay if those things are wrong. I believe other things. Like, well, I'm here to defend Christianity because that's what you attack. And he just continually gallops and moves on to the next thing. But Wes does a pretty good job at bringing it back. And he's, I guess I'll just.
And then I want Billy to answer. And also, I'm just curious, like the Sinai Bible, was that where was that piece?
I found the text where I was referencing. Actually, I was misquoted. I misquoted there. It's the Gospel of Barnabas.
Oh yeah, because those are very similar sounding sources. I can see how you can get Sinai and Barnabas.
Yeah, I forgot.
Nothing alike.
So well, I forgot my.
Has he been misquoting?
I was reading the recipe of a bread, and then I was like, oh, but there's Huckleberry Finn.
Oh, see, I was gonna say, even if it was like,
yeah,
it wasn't a bread recipe, it was beer. It's like, well, at least there's like a wheat connection, but like, I mean, there's nothing really connecting Sinai and Barnabas. I don't know.
Or misspeaking this whole entire time in every single podcast that he's seen now.
Wow.
Well,
don't go to Harvard.
Hey, Christmas trees are pagan. I don't like this pagan imagery on my screen.
This is a really interesting document because it is a known forgery. And so that's why I think it's important to get to these sources. So at the very start of the Gospel of Barnabas, which we only have 2 copies of, one is in Italian and one is in Spanish, we see right off the bat that the Gospel of Barnabas, not to be confused with either the Epistle of Barnabas or the Acts of Barnabas, which are 2 apocryphal documents from the 2nd century, but the Gospel of Barnabas in particular, we know it's a forgery because it does things like in chapter 92, it says that Jesus spent 40 days on Mount Sinai and then he came to the Jordan River and he...
Just the fact that Wesley, off the top of his head.
Okay. He says he's really smart.
Nor Jerusalem are close to the Jordan River. So never mind their not being a route from the Jordan River to like around Mount Sinai or going to Jerusalem. But there are internal problems with the Gospel of Barnabas, which indicate that it shows no actual indication of evidence of coming from or even having knowledge of first century Jewish understanding. It actually says Jesus is the Christ, but not the Messiah, which indicates that whoever the author is, he didn't know that those were the same words. And I think a bigger problem is that the Gospel of Barnabas actually paraphrases Dante's Inferno, which was written in 1314. So there's a lot of internal evidences that disqualify the Gospel of Barnabas, never mind the fact that we don't have any evidence of it prior to the 14th century.
I don't know if Billy even understands what internal evidence means.
Oh, dude, what a sick burn, dude. What a sick burn. That's the kind of level of thinking you get when you don't have hair as like a filter between where the thoughts come in and you receive them. If you just get rid of that and the thoughts can come right in, you're able to burn people like that, dude. Look at how extra crispy Ben Carson is. I'm gonna be honest. I think he's a little too black. I'm not trying to be mean. And y'all know that I'm like the blackest guy on the internet. But I mean, look at him. He's a little too black, right? So you shouldn't burn him anymore.
If we shut the lights off, nobody would know.
Yeah, the old meme like,
we thought it was just a 3-way debate, not a 4-way.
Yeah, I don't know.
In any other language other than Middle Age Italian Italian and Spanish.
I'm not
the internal content of the Gospel of Barnabas disqualifies it from being ancient.
Right.
And then the fact that it's doing things like paraphrasing Dante, or it also refers to a rule of the time of Jubilee, which was changed in the Middle Ages from what it was in the biblical year of Jubilee. And it goes with the Middle Ages concept, not the ancient concept. So I think what I'm getting at is,
hold on. Okay, we got to do a little bit of a wisdom. Since people are so upset with bald people, we got to do a little bit of a wisdom.
Do you have something, or you just?
I do have something actually.
Okay, so I'm just waiting.
Just calm down.
Are you okay?
Calm down. Everyone, calm down. So this is a little bit of wisdom of where baldness comes from, so people can get understanding of it. There you go. So
you're asking me. Okay, you're asking me to put something up.
Well, I can put something up. Well, but,
I'm already doing it.
Yeah. So everyone knows that like wisdom comes from different cultures. We all know how like wisdom works. It's different. Like if you have one goat, I have one goat, and we end up fighting against each other. It's just like, especially if we're Muslim, we'll just be like, well, let's just bring them all together. Wisdom. So let's get to wisdom here about bald people, especially.
Okay, I'm ready to go on this little journey with you.
Did you hear about when you bald here or here? What's the difference? You heard about that?
No.
They say when you bald in the front, you think a lot, and when you bald at the back, you're intelligent.
So I'm both.
No, if you're both, then you think you're intelligent.
It worked, and that was an example, live example. Oh no! Did you say That's pretty good. Okay, thank you, John, for that little aside. Let's continue.
Jesus' wife doesn't actually mention. So oftentimes what happens is that the text of the Gospel of Jesus' wife is kind of paralleled with the Gospel of Philip, which mentions that that Jesus would kiss Mary Magdalene on the mouth. And so those are kind of used in parallel to kind of for this argument that Jesus was married. So the Gospel of Jesus' wife is in the Harvard Library. However, the reason we know it's also not legitimate is because even though the manuscript, the papyrus that it's on, was carbon dated to the 4th century, the text was actually copied from a PDF version of the Gospel of Thomas, known as Grandin's Interlinear. And there was a mistake in the Coptic text of Grandin's Interlinear that was copied into the Gospel of Jesus' wife. So we know that this is not a legitimate document, even though the papyrus is ancient. And this happens a lot with forgeries. I have a couple of friends who have actually worked on projects that have revealed forgeries within Dead Sea Scroll manuscripts and within other ancient Christian papyri. But the reason why we know
I have absolutely no idea why Billy Carson would agree to this. He's talking to a smart person, and Billy Carson is he so dumb that he thinks that he could actually do this? Like what is his incentive to do this? It could only end badly.
Well, Billy has been he's been asking for this for a long time. He's been asking like, any theologian, come debate me. any kind of person who has any kind of like understanding of church history come and debate me because I have all the knowledge of ancient texts. And he's been putting this out there for like probably about 5-6 years now, and everyone's just been writing him off like, "Oh, you're an idiot. Just shut up." And no one's actually been able to be like, "Okay, let's have a debate." And finally, someone's just like, "Let's do this. Come on, let's go." And they're just like, he's like, "Okay, I'll put you down." And then it's just like,
so he actually believes. So wait, is Bill? He's got hair, right? I mean, from the wisdom you dropped upon us earlier, he should be totally bald, just like our gentleman on the left. Because he thinks he's smart from that, what you're saying, but he's clearly not.
Allah Akbar. I don't have a bomb here, so
You don't have a bong? Well, good on you, dude. Glad.
To move on and pinning him down and finishing out that thought, because
yeah, okay, all right, okay. Let's see what this is.
Tablets as well, God Hammurabi and a few others have made it into that text. Sumerian cylinder scrolls that talk about the creation story again.
Okay, this is where he is saying that the he's like, okay, yeah, sure, I don't care. Old Testament. It seems to me like the Old Testament is clearly a forgery of other ancient texts, ancient creation myths, such as the Enuma Elish, and that's because they use the Bible straight up copied parts of it, and he does this thing where he says that there are similarities, and he says similarity equals forgery, and that means the Bible cannot be true, the biblical story cannot be true, so the things that it's copying from must be true. But I don't see any reason why you couldn't flip it around. Oh, the Enuma Elish has a sentence that's the same as the Bible, therefore the Enuma Elish isn't true. I don't understand how he can arbitrate the direction of that stream. You know what I'm saying?
It's okay. You don't have to worry. We got Billy here. He'll tell you.
Okay. Yeah. I guess we'll learn us some.
The creation story in the Epic of Atrahasis, and so we tend to see this copying of ancient tablets, text, and scriptures, even some papyruses, into the biblical text. Meaning that my point here is that I think a lot of people are saying that this information was written in real time. A lot of people believe that. If you ask the average person, they really believe that. But a lot of this information is just copied from older tablets and texts from an earlier date. That's what I found. That it's made it into the canonized Bible, but they never reference that they got it from any other ancient texts and tablets that have to do with a totally different civilization with totally different religious beliefs.
And it's a totally different story. There are similarities, but it's a totally different story.
Shut up, John.
Have you read the Enuma Elish?
Yeah, I've done lectures.
Sure. Do you mind summarizing the content of the creation account in the Enuma Elish for us?
Sure. The Enuma Elish is a very ancient text discovered in the Library of Ashurbanipal, and the summary of it is that it really gives us an account, which is crazy, an astronomical account of the creation of our solar system. It talks about planets and moons gaining specific orbits around the sun. It talks about a huge planet named Tiamat, 46 times larger than Earth. Earth didn't exist at the time, that is, according to the author of this text, which is pretty interesting. And then there's talks about a nemesis of sorts. In the original version, it's called Nibiru, but in a more recent version, still thousands of years old, the name was changed to Marduk. Marduk is in the Jewish American Library, in the Torah and so forth. Very popular figure in ancient times in the religious books and texts. Marduk wanted to be the destroyer, so Marduk is the one that during its next orbit towards Tiamat, crashed into Tiamat and destroyed Tiamat. A huge chunk of it swung away, recoalesced, taking the water, land, and organic material, which basically recoalesced as our planet here, Earth, and the rest of it.
I know he's talking, but it's actually just making me. I totally spaced out and like anything he said. Did you hear anything he said?
No, I just heard Nibiru and like I don't know if there's anybody here like familiar. Are you familiar with Nibiru at all?
It's like a Pokemon, right?
I don't know. I thought.
Or is that like something? Is that like a weeb thing? Kind of sounds like a weeb thing.
No, it was supposed to be like some planet that is like that. What's it called? That circulates our galaxy every like how many years? It was like 1100 years or 1200 years or whatever. And it was supposed to come across, and there was this huge thing where like it was like, oh, it's coming, and it never did.
What is it called? Nibiru?
Nibiru. It's like this so-called made-up planet.
Nibiru. That's a flip phone for little children. It looks like. I don't know how to spell Nibiru.
I don't know.
No, never you. Oh, it's just weeb stuff. Everything coming up is weeb things.
No.
I'm gonna move on. I'm gonna assume what everything you said was true. I trust you.
Broke up into pieces. Some of it turned to the asteroid belt. Excuse me. Other parts of it were thrown towards the sun, and some were thrown towards the inner Oort cloud, towards the outer edge of the solar system. This planet or this moonlet that orbited supposedly a brown dwarf, based on the description of it, gained a very strange orbit around our sun. And we have the scientific evidence now, also the
strange according to who, dude?
Where we see that Saturn and I believe Neptune switch places. Uranus is flipped on its side, and that's more evidence that something came through our solar system in ancient times and gravitationally really tugged at planets here and switched up their orbits and even pulled the axis of a planet on its own side, where the equator is now running north and south. So a little bit of modern astrophysics kind of backs up what this ancient text is saying. I'm starting to like put myself in the headspace of people that actually listen to this dude and like take what he says seriously, because it's earlier I was looking at him and listening and like, how is this dude? I mean, like Anson can tell you like, there's no reason I'll ever get popular because like, look at me and listen to me and like, I'm not funny, right? We get it, Anson, but like this dude,
Anson.
I mean, like, what is he? I mean, he like memorizes like enough surface details to like conjure up. Oh, it was found in the whatever museum or whatever. That's like what he's got, but I do kind of feel like I'm listening, and this is like weird, but I feel like I'm kind of listening to like a Pink Floyd song. You ever like listen to Pink Floyd and you're like, why do I feel like I just smoked weed? You ever have that feeling?
Yeah, and it's like the exact same thing. It's like if I memorize a newspaper and I just recite the newspaper over and over and over again.
It's like hypnotic.
Yeah, and it was just like, oh, well, that was the news for the day. That actually didn't happen. It was disproven. These files came out. The police came out and said this instead of that, and they were like, hey, this statement was bad. Blah, blah, blah. Just like, no. Shit. But the newspaper, it said Nibiru.
I mean, Anson, do we need to show you the video about bald people again?
Yeah.
I mean,
my gosh.
I'm not trying to be mean, but I do feel like I took a hit is all I'm trying to say. And so I can understand like somebody just like puts it on and like it's like a spell or something, because I'm not trying to be a little bitch, but clearly
obtuse, but
I
think
I like that word, obtuse. I don't know. I'm in a weird headspace. Listen to Mr. Billy Carson. I do feel like I'm listening to. It's like mundane, monotone.
But the Enumlish also then begins to talk about the fact that these beings. It kind of cuts into the fact that these beings, are on Earth and at some point begin to engage mankind. In other words, they didn't create people from scratch, but they engaged the existing hominid and began to utilize us as workers for their workforce. In the Atrahasis epic, you see a much similar story. Slightly later date period, but still thousands of years old, the epic of Atrahasis, and we see a very similar story, and we see where the sons of God literally came down to Earth. They came from Mars, according to.
And it's just like a lot of this can be chopped up to like similar stuff to like Sola Scriptura, interpretation. I'm so high right now. I'm gonna try to collect myself. A lot of this can be attacked very. Dude, I do feel weird. I do feel like lightheaded or something. But a lot of this can be criticized like a similar route as like Sola Scriptura with normative authority, because he's just giving his Yelp review of different things in the Bible. Like a lot of our holy God-bearing fathers in the church interpret the sons of God in the Genesis as who off the top of my head, I'm trying to remember. It's one of the somebody's sons. I can't remember. I had to look at the. Anyways, it's like a group of people that were godly like before the flood, I think, and it calls them like the sons of God. So it's talking about their like purity or whatever. And a lot of people will come and be like, "Oh, it was aliens or it was like angelic beings or whatever." But the fathers are clearly saying it's just like paying honor this group of people who are honoring God.
Yeah.
So it's just him taking the Bible and interpreting it. And I'm not trying to be mean, John, but it does seem like it's a Sola Scriptura kind of issue. Do you agree?
It's a bad Sola Scriptura. I gotta
Yeah.
keep,
Well,
keep playing. Keep
okay.
playing.
All right. All right.
To this text, if you read the translation of the planet Mars and to English, and then they went to battle. They were going to go to battle in South Africa against Enki and Lil and Anu, and they come to terms without going to battle. They argue that they needed women, human women.
I'm gonna start listening to this dude to fall asleep. It's really good ASMR, I think. I hope it doesn't actually make my brain real stupid. Because I feel like that could seep in. But it would be a really good sleep aid.
And they also wanted a workforce. They didn't want to continue to do the labor. They were cleaning out the Tigris and Euphrates rivers, digging canals, building cities on Earth, and according to the text on Mars, not according to me. And a decision was made by Enki and Anu and Enlil to allow this experiment to happen, where they would take the existing hominid here. They would slay one of the gods, meaning that they would, in my opinion, that doesn't mean they're going to kill it, but somehow some type of genetic modification or manipulation, in my personal opinion.
Wait, what do you say? The sons of God has to mean like aliens or whatever, but slay doesn't mean slay now. And in personal opinion, slay doesn't mean kill.
My hypothesis. But in the end, it ends up being that human beings are now doing a lot of this labor and worshiping these people as gods, as they, my personal opinion, masqueraded as gods. A lot of stories there, parallel stories that you see in the Bible, even the Tower of Babel and many other crazy stories that are in the Bible. You can find a lot of those true stories in the ancient.
Crazy according to you, but have you listened to yourself? You sound a little bit crazy yourself. Have you listened to yourself? Picture Billy Carson putting headphones on and listening to videos of Billy Carson. Can you imagine like the feedback you'd get? Would he get dumber? What would happen if we Clockwork Oranged Billy Carson with Billy Carson material? Did you hear what I said?
I did, and I guess the only thing I would have to say would be what Bill Hicks just said: "Slay Queen."
Yeah, I guess, man. I don't know.
Text like the epic of Gilgamesh, where you can find the true story of Noah. They found the Noah tablet to give him instructions on how to build the ark. It wasn't a big boat; it was a round disc that he built with the sections cut up on the inside like a pie.
So I haven't looked at this in a while, but I'm pretty sure it was a cube, not a disc.
There we go with John. Okay,
That
all
was
right.
about 4 or 5 years ago.
If anybody ever comes up to you and they spell their name John, Jon, just
go the other way.
Yeah,
just go the other way.
Yeah, just pretend to fart and just like sleep.
Yeah, I honestly have not been paying attention either. I mean, this is a very great Mr. Westward material. I can't even pay attention to what we're watching.
British Museum now. So there's a lot of text that's been covered and copied over into the biblical text, and I think that, in my personal opinion, a lot of people just became a cargo cult, worshiping people that were masquerading as gods. I do believe in God. Let me make this clear. I believe in God. I believe there's a creator of the universe.
Okay.
I believe
the Mr. Mark is very squishy. Like, okay, you say you believe in God. Okay. He's like, it's like, gee, that like just it's like the Force, but it's gay too, and
that the mathematics, quantum physics, all proves that. The fact that we're here, I believe this universe is imbued with a divine energy and a divine spark that lives inside of all of us. I just don't believe that the God of the Bible is truly the creator of the universe. I don't.
Okay, well, if we are all imbued with a divine spark and it's inside all of us, and you think people wrote the Bible and it's not divinely inspired, wouldn't that mean some people don't have that divine spark that you're talking about? Why would the divine spark you're talking about that we all are supposed to have create something that's untrue, Mr. Billy Carson? It's a little confusing to me.
Well, it's because we're all man. We're all man.
But we're imbued, not only us, but the universe we're in is imbued with this divine spark that is Christ consciousness. His second return is him bringing like I don't know.
I don't think that God needs money. I don't think that God needs.
Sure. Do you mind if I just jump in here for a second? Because I think we've kind of gone on from the original question. I appreciate that. I do have a few issues with your summary, although I think I have read the Akkadian version. My Akkadian's not great, but I sat down with a seriologist friend and we walked through it a couple years ago. So I think that there are components of what you said that I would say are in there. I'm not sure it's the best summary. Nonetheless, okay, going with what you said, you said that there were like verbatim parallels with the biblical creation story. Even just going off of what you said, which I think there are components of that I would agree with, the Battle of the Gods, the concept of Enki and the younger gods, and they fight Tiamat, and then Marduk, who swears he'll defeat Tiamat, and Kunku kills Tiamat by shooting her with an arrow, and there's a big battle, and then gods that die end up being the earth and the sky, and even us, because we are the end result of that battle. I'm just curious, when you say that there are not just parallels, but there's actual copying, looking at Genesis chapter 1 and 2, where the creation story is summarized in the Bible, what are the actual kind of parallels there that you're looking to? Because as someone who's read both, I not only do I not find parallels, I actually, and this is the majority of ancient Near Eastern scholarship with me, think that Genesis chapter 1 is actually unapologetic against documents like the Enuma Elish. So
yeah, and that's very similar to like a lot of takes by Father Stephen D. Young. He goes in and even more in the other Old Testament text, not just Genesis. You can look at other like Babylonian texts, and you can see them and compare them to the text in the Bible, and they seem like it's a response to one another, and it likely is.
Oh man. Oh man.
What are the parallels there?
Separate the waters from the waters, for example. That's an English.
Okay. Again. All right, John, we got to try to max this John's energy, because he's got like 45,000 views or something on this video. So every little bit, I'm going to pause it and just go, oh man, oh wow, geez. Okay. I also, whenever I see people that are like incredibly incompetent, I have some somewhere.
And I'm
who's
sorry,
the guy on the left? That's me.
Sorry,
I'm the guy on the left.
Sorry, but I have like a full head of hair. I can't be that guy.
Oh yeah, it's true. Well, okay, but we're just trying to match, whatever we can is what I'm saying, because he's got the views, and that's what we need. But what was this? Okay, when you see somebody incredibly incompetent who's very successful, such as Mr. Billy Carson, how does that make you? What's your reaction?
I like to fall asleep to listening to him, because it's
I was saying that earlier. It's like the perfect sleep aid. As long as like you don't get brainwashed, as long as you're able to like let it just wash over you and through you, and it doesn't leave any residue. As long as you end up saying like the weird golden tablets or anything like that, like subconsciously, I think I'd sleep a lot better listening to this dude.
I've never woken up listening to Billy Carton. Billy Carson, and just been like, I gotta read Thoth.
Oh, yeah. He's gonna come and the ancient Hebrews are actually the Native Americans, and they went through a portal, and they're gonna come and show us ancient Atlantean technology. You ever seen Spirit Science? It says a bunch of random. It's like Billy Carson, but white, pasty white version of Billy Carson.
Well, I'll just end with this. My moon beaver has never been tickled listening.
Well, it's definitely not a kid show, folks. Oh, it's definitely not a kid show. I'm sorry, but I was going to say that when I see people that are incredibly incompetent that make a lot of money, first off, I'm going to interrupt myself. Look at Mr. Wesley's face. That is the proper response to
that's like the Jim from The Office face, just like,
yeah, just having to like just trying to be polite and respectful, and like my mom's watching this debate live right now, like trying to hold it together, and this guy saying the stupidest thing you ever heard. Thank you. It is. I mean,
it's like when people tell you to wear a mask into Walmart, and everyone's just like, "Oh, it's so bad. You're gonna get someone sick." And then Jim Bob's like, "I have small shoulders."
He does have small shoulders, but he knows how to put in a boat battery. But I am going to get this thought out eventually.
I do wish I can talk to Jim Bob and tell him to go watch Djibouti and learn how to because like this whole what is it, Jordan Peterson thing with GTA, he can make it perfect, but he has to like, last night's was just, it was horrible. I
didn't watch it. I can't speak to it. But I was gonna say, when I watch people like Billy Carson that he shouldn't be allowed to speak in public or be seen in public. He should probably be in a padded room. But he's out here making a lot of money, being an idiot. It actually gives me, I don't know. It actually kind of inspires me, because like maybe I'm not the funniest. Maybe I've got a long way to go. Maybe I could improve myself a little bit. Maybe I've got some potential. But even if I don't reach that, I'm not retarded like Billy Carson here. So the bar can't be that high. It really can't be that high. Listen, let's see if we hear him again. Oh, okay.
Oh, damn it. I was going to play
separated the waters from the water. The whole thing's separated.
Oh, yeah. Sorry. Billy Carson said, we know that the Bible's not true because it's a copy of the Enuma Elish, because it says they both say something similar to they separated the waters from the waters. Therefore, the Bible's not true. and the Enuma Elish is actually true, and the Noah's Ark was a pie. I think I got all the facts right.
And it wasn't an arc, it was a disc.
Right, yeah, which was a pie. The disc was a pie. Slaying's not slaying.
Right.
The sons of gods are aliens.
Separated the waters from the waters. The whole thing's stolen. Separated the waters from the waters.
That's also in the biblical text.
Okay,
And that was it. I was expecting more. Oh my gosh.
that I would agree is a parallel. The only reason I highlight that is that if you're making the argument, because if you brought it up, and I mean this with all due respect, there are superficial parallels. I would agree. The separation of the water, the concept of the earth being formless and void. That's also in the Enuma Elish. However, I think all the other details, it's the details that make the difference. And if we're looking at not the superficial crossovers, but the actual themes and concepts of what it's saying, you don't have a creation within 7 days.
I'm not going to take the Enuma Elish and put it into the biblical text. There's certain words that they utilize that let me know that they copied it from that text. Like, for example, separating the water from the waters, the void, the earth being void. That information is literally just copied over. So it tells you that somebody saw that and said, let me add it to this book right here. Or let me add it to this papyrus.
That's called a stretch.
Wouldn't that be a word? Wouldn't that
Stretch.
be a word? That'd be a stretch, but would that also be like a word concept fallacy? Just because, like I said, something and something, and then you use that same word, or am I just stupid?
That could be. I mean, it might be. I'd say it's more like a composition fallacy, which is that this part is similar, therefore the whole is similar. So it might be. There might be a way you could articulate it as like a word concept fallacy too. Like just because they are both speaking about similar concepts, that doesn't mean. So that's usually word concept fallacy is usually like a word has to have one meaning. It can't have multiple meanings. That's usually what it is. So I'd say it's more like a composition. But he's saying that they both say a similar thing, that the waters were separated from the waters. Therefore, the Bible copied it from the other, and therefore I can say whatever I want about the Bible. It's not original, and it's a forgery, and this one's actually true because it's older, or whatever he wants to say.
So like when they say the ancient Sumerians said murder was bad, and then Christianity said murder was bad.
Yeah.
So therefore, Christianity got that from the ancient Sumerians. So
well, actually, that sounds more like a genetic fallacy, which is like just because like no, it's okay. No, you're saying good. You're saying good things. Like, but yeah, I would say that to me sounds like a genetic fallacy, which is like Hitler ate eggs and bacon. There, if you eat eggs and bacon, therefore you're like Hitler. It's that kind of thing. Like, which I guess, I mean, all these kind of can be different fallacies. You can kind of articulate them with, depending on how you present it. Am I making sense, everybody? Am I saying all this right? I don't know. Been trying to remember the actress name from Family Guy, but it's not happening. Well, first person Q. Can't remember the actress from Family Guy. Family Guy clearly stole first person Q's memory of Family Guy. Therefore, the Enuma Elish
wasn't a book yet at that time.
So was this text discovered?
No, Mark. No, don't jump in now, Mark, please.
That makes it parallel.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what like the background of this was, but Mark should have just like gone to a very long potty break the entire time. He didn't need to be here.
Yeah.
To Genesis, was this like supposedly discovered prior to? I'm just curious.
It wasn't discovered prior to the Bible, but it dates back long before the Bible was ever written.
Okay.
Let me just say this. So the reason why I say it's actually an apologetic against that is because the purpose of the Enuma Elish, which the Babylonians read every Babylonian New Year, was to point out the fact that the deities, and there's countless deities in the Babylonian pantheon, they actually come from the created order. So they're not outside of time and space. They actually come from the created order. And when they die in this battle, right, when Tiamat is defeated, the defeated gods become the earth and the sky and the plants and even you and me. And in that sense, the theme is that you don't actually have any purpose or end result, and you're not created in the image of God. In fact, in the ancient Babylonian system, only the kings were created in the image of God. And what we see that is counter to that is that even sure, there's superficial, divided the waters, but we find that in almost every society and culture. That's not a parallel as much as just a generality. I would say what we see within the biblical account is that God purposefully creates. There's only one God. He purposefully creates, and then he creates, and it's good. And it continues to say it's good 7 times. And then at the end of chapter 1, just for the people in the original audience, it says, and then it was very good. And then he creates humanity, not kings, but simply the humans that he creates in God's image, and they have purpose.
I mean, it's such a stretch that it's like saying GTA 5 and Pokemon are like the same game because in the games they both have blue skies. It's like it's that kind of stretch, or it's just that doesn't kind of mean anything. You're like, you could just say that you don't believe it. Like, it's such a bad reason to say that you're dismissing it that you should just not even give a reason.
Yeah.
Purpose and meaning, and that instills them with this creation order. And that's not what we find in the Enuma Elish. In fact, we find the opposite in the Enuma Elish, is that the created order is not good, it's a mistake, and that you are not created in the image of God, and there's a reminder that regular people are not created in the image of God. So linguistically, I mean, Hebrew does have Semitic ties with Akkadian, doesn't with Sumerian. Sumerian is a language isolate, a glutinizing language, but I would say just with all due respect, the parallels linguistically are not there. There might be superficial kind of concepts that are there, but they're so superficial that we can find them in everything. In the sense of, I'm in office studio, you're in your office studio. That doesn't mean that, that we're the same people or we're even in the same place. Does that make sense?
Yeah, but I don't agree with that. I just see, if I have all these texts out, there's a lot of different information that you can see. There's a lot of different copy word for word into the biblical text.
So what is word for word, Billy? This is what he asked you. What was copied word for word? You say separated waters from the waters. What are the 6 words? 6 words. Is that it? Only 6 words? So man.
In your version of what you believe
and what is the point of that? Okay, like Wesley's brought up, and I've read both. I've read the Enuma Elish, I've read the Bible. They have very different accounts, very different messages, very different structures. Like he's saying that the God of the Bible is outside of time. He's the creator of time and space, of material reality. In the Enuma Elish, they are all contained within creation. It's not a creation myth like the Old Testament, that is, creation is coming out of nothingness, out of ex nihilo creation. They are like beings within creation. And then he brought up the dignity of man and the lack of dignity of man in the Enuma Elish. Like there's so many things that are just totally 180 from each other in the accounts. How are they the same? How is it directly copied when we can show all of these things that are not parallel together?
Yeah, and that was like the funny thing for me too.
Whoa! Wait, so you got Wes and you got Mr. Mark on here? That's crazy. Apparently, Mano is going to be talking to some of these guys here.
Oh, scheiße. Mr. Mano.
I take back any joke I've made about any of these people. I would talk to them.
I would talk to them too.
Yeah, I mean,
especially Billy.
Well, what's going to be interesting here later, there's because Mr. John above me is like kind of normal evangelical dude, and he says something that I disagree with, and I actually, this guy up here, this guy, that John without an H. Oh, the guy who set it up, and was the guy who worked with Carson. Okay, well, I don't. Anyways, the guy over there, Mr. Mark with the blazer, he says something I kind of agree with, and I don't really agree with the evangelicals take. We'll get to it.
You keep saying that God's a he.
Yeah. Yeah. Now he's going to try to switch it. Watch. He's moving. This is a tactic. He's moving from the point that is being made and moving on to another subject. You see how God is a he. Really.
And so where do you get that from?
Well, throughout both the Hebrew Old Testament and the Greek New Testament, you have the masculine singular pronoun used for God.
And why is God a man? Where's the evidence of this?
Well, God isn't a man. See, within historical Christianity, we don't believe that God has a gender. However, the way that he has decided to reveal himself is through the masculine plural, and then ultimately by becoming a human in the person of Jesus Christ. So we don't believe that God has a gender. In fact, the fact that God creates humanity in his image and he creates the male and female, those are 2 aspects of the image of God, and so that's the completeness. So historical Christianity has never argued that God is gendered. Jesus is gendered in the sense that during the incarnation, he becomes a human man, but he's...
I feel compelled to...
Some people don't like using feminine pronouns like that, praise her name, when talking about God. They like to think of God as a he, and that's cool. But I think we'd all do well to at least occasionally remind ourselves that there's no galactic nutsack on G. There's no galactic nutsack on G.
Still fundamentally God, but God is spirit, and right, as Scripture says, we worship in truth.
I got a vagina.
God always blows my mind. God is the same all the time, right? He's always good.
Man, they moved right on. Billy was getting smoked, and they moved right on.
Right just like I did.
Why is God a masculine rabbit hole?
God is all the same all the time, right?
Yeah, but we do see that though in Scripture, God has revealed himself through the masculine plural, and there are aspects of God's character that we see within Scripture that do actually communicate. Jesus says that he longs to gather Israel like a mother hen collects her chicks. So we see aspects of
And I mostly agree here with Wesley that God the Father has revealed himself as a father, as a masculine figure, and that Jesus Christ obviously is incarnated as a man, as a masculine man. But there are, feminine and masculine traits that in the way that we would describe them to God. But we can't, that doesn't mean that we can do, one more time. That doesn't mean we can go ahead and do this move here.
praise her name. Some people don't like using feminine pronouns like that, praise her name, when talking about God.
Right.
They like to think of God as a he, and that's cool. But I think we'd all do well to at least occasionally remind ourselves that there's no galactic nutsack on G. There's no galactic nutsack on G.
I got it, Jay.
So all I'm trying to say is, yeah, we can talk about there are feminine analogies in the Bible, like the wisdom of God is portrayed in a feminine way, but God has revealed himself as a father. The reason we can't just start saying praise her name, because that it goes against what God has revealed himself to be. And that doesn't, like, I saw like the worst I've ever seen Chuck Dirk, Mr. Charlie Kirk, do is he was debating against like the Troon stuff with a dude, and he was like got caught in a little bit of a trap when he was talking. The guy was saying, like, talking about gender theory, and he brought up like God being a man. He's like, so you're saying, or God being masculine, being revealed as a father, and he's like, so like you're saying that he has like genitals and all this, and like Charlie Kirk, it wasn't like he didn't like totally flop, but he kind of, it's like, didn't have like the theological tool set to describe it. But I can find the clip later or whatever. But yeah, he didn't really navigate that debate super well. But I don't think he's any kind of theologian. He's like a political dude.
The feminine of God, not meaning that God is feminine, but that the image of God reflects both the masculine and the feminine. And that's why when the two become one flesh, there's a uniting of that reflects the image of God as well.
You actually believe that the majority of Christians really believe that God is?
You don't actually believe that
God has both aspects.
Okay, and then this is like what is this, like a no true Scotsman kind of fallacy? Like, oh, I'm going to dismiss you. I'm going to dismiss. It's kind of like what, almost like in reverse, coming out with what this fallacy is. He's saying, I'm going to not engage with what you say Christianity is, because I can point to all these these ignorant Protestants or whatever, and say they don't believe what you're saying. They're ignorant about this form of Christianity or your argument. I'm not going to deal with your argument, because I can say there's people that say they're the same as you that don't believe the same as you, and that's just how he's running from.
But nobody's arguing that. What's that? Sorry,
that always blows my mind.
God is the same all the time, right? He's always good.
Man, they moved right on. Billy was getting smoked, and they moved right on. He pulled him right into this "why is God masculine" rabbit hole.
God is all the same all the time, right?
Yeah, but we do see that in Scripture, God has revealed himself through the masculine plural. And there are aspects of God's character that we see within Scripture that do actually communicate. Jesus says that he longs to gather Israel like a mother hen collects her chicks. So we see aspects of the feminine of God, not meaning that God is feminine, but that the image of God reflects both the masculine and the feminine. And that's why when the two become one flesh, there's a uniting of that reflects the image of God as well.
You actually believe that the majority of Christians really believe that God is not masculine, that God has both aspects?
It's irrelevant. The majority of Christians believe.
How many would tell you, that God's not a man? They've never been taught this.
Well, I was taught it growing up. I was taught it when I was a child, when I went to seminary, when I went to Bible college. I was taught it in graduate school.
Kind of
I would say
whenever you like, I don't know, is that some kind of fallacy or something? Whenever you're just like, oh, just because most Christians don't believe in that, therefore it's not true. I mean, like,
yeah,
I think there's a lot of things like, even though you and I are kind of like on different ends of the spectrum of Christianity, there's a lot we will concur with.
Right. Yeah. Well, there's definitely things that we do agree with, but there are critical differences. And I would say like I would never do like the ecumenist move of saying, oh, we're just the exact same. Even though, like, I think we should acknowledge the distinctions between us and just actually be able to talk about it. Right. Like that's like the liberal ecumenist thing is just like, oh, we all believe in the same thing. That's just kind of like most Protestants, most evangelicals have that tendency to be ecumenist. Like if we just believe in like the core essentials or whatever, but they don't, how would they know which are the exact core essentials or whatever?
Yeah. And like, I would say the same thing. It's like, just because like, because I know a lot of people who said like, I believe in Jesus Christ. I've accepted him to my savior. And I've been baptized, but I've never done anything out of that. It's like, okay, we're different.
Right.
It's like, we got to have this conversation. But like,
I mean, it's like nominalism. It's just people that are in name only.
Yeah, I guess I would say the same thing too. But Damn it.
Yeah, but if somebody can help me out with like, what's the fallacy Billy Carson is doing
Yeah,
with?
that's what
It sounds almost like a reverse. No true Scotsman or something like that. Oh, I'm not like it's just I'm not going to deal with your actual position. I'm going to. It's not a straw man. He's not saying this is your position, but he's saying, well, I mean, is he kind of saying, well, what you're saying is Christianity isn't Christianity because look at all these other Christians that don't believe in that. I'm going to attack this
could
form
be
of
that
Christianity
way.
that's a lot this easier form of I can easily point out what's wrong with these Christians, and what is it like, kind of a ad populum or whatever, with like there's more of them. So that must be the actual Christianity because there's more really stupid Christians. Genetic fallacy, maybe. I don't know. It's not. So like, yeah, I guess it's straw man, kind of. It's a deflection, clearly, but it's I don't know. It feels like a no true Scotsman, but like in reverse. Like that's not true Christianity. True Christianity is the stupid one.
I'd say a few things to that. I would say, in one sense, it's irrelevant what the majority of Christians believe, because what historical biblical Christianity articulates is what they should believe. You know, there are Christians who run around saying all sorts of things that are not in conformity to biblical, historical, Orthodox Christianity, and they shouldn't believe that.
And that's why I don't know where he's using the word Orthodox there. I don't know if he is Eastern Orthodox. I mean, he's very knowledgeable, and he's clearly very well read on a lot of church history and early documents. So, I mean, most people that look into that become Orthodox, or at least like are looking for what they would view as the apostolic church, like Catholic or something like that. But a lot of Protestants will use little o orthodoxy in that ecumenist sense of like just the core essential beliefs. Like, oh, orthodoxy is, you know, what we all as Christians should believe, that kind of thing.
Is what we should believe until Martin Luther came around.
Right. But you know, that's the project. The little o orthodoxy, ecumenism is Martin Luther and the Catholics before him actually believed in the same core essentials. They just disagreed on the secondary and tertiary things. He's a prompt for Toronto. Yeah, I kind of got. He says Judeo-Christian a couple times. So that was my big like. I don't think he's. I don't. You know, prod alert. It's an ad populum, genetic, no true Scotsman, strawman. Maybe. Yeah, it's just like all of them. Somehow in like 3 words, he was able to do like a bunch of fallacies. So no true Scotsman attempts to build up a position where he's using to attempt to take it down a position, hence reverse no true Scotsman. Yeah, something like that. It's like, because normally no true Scotsman is no Christian would lie, but you can like find a bunch of Christians that do lie or something like that. Like, it's basically like a false standard or like a false sense of what a Scotsman actually is. Scotsmen don't go out and get drunk, but most of them do. So it seems almost like he's like, you're not a true Christian. The true Christians are these ones I'm gonna pick.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
I don't know. We can move on.
It's irrelevant. And so if one Christian believes something that is not in line with biblical Christianity, I mean, that's on them. So God is not gendered, but he does express through inspired scripture the masculine the masculine pronoun.
That's pretty convenient. I mean, for all knowing, all loving God to understand that human beings want to take that and abuse it.
It's rhetoric, Billy. It's rhetoric. Let's get to the facts. Let's get to the truth of this. This is rhetoric. It has nothing to.
I'm not trying to be mean, Mr. Baldy, man, but rhetoric is important in a debate. It's okay. I'm okay with people doing rhetoric. All right, and if it's bad, if it's rhetoric sans an argument, then use that as your argument against him. Just I don't know.
To do with is Christianity true and is
shut up
about Christianity false? Yeah, this is rhetoric.
Shut up, John.
Put their boot on the neck of women for eons. It's pretty interesting. Also, I'm trying to understand.
Yeah, I mean, so hold on. Let me speak.
Wait, can I say something real quick, guys? I have to.
Yeah, sure.
If it was only for the Old Testament,
wait, guys, I'm having a thought.
Wait, can I say something real quick?
Wait, I'm having a thought.
If it was only for the Old Testament, I would have a hard time following a lot of stuff.
Yo, I love Mark. I really like this guy.
For me, like you said, putting the boots on women.
Dude, I love Marcionism. Dude, I love Marcionism. I'm not trying to be
Westford over here, but like his he doesn't have black hair like me.
No, Mark he's an endearing idiot, I think. An endearing little dum dum.
Well, his wife is Muslim. I mean, like, I don't know, like how far he
Right, like I said, Mark is going to be in a burqa by this time next year.
Yeah, like I don't like. I think he wants to explore, like God willing, he wants to explore Christianity and everything like that, but like his wife is just there, just like
Haram!
She has a burqa just holding it up. Like every time he walks inside, he's like, "Hey, baby!" Oh.
You get that for yourself? And she she's got the measuring tape and.
She's like, I don't want this reached on your whole face. I do not know.
I love that Bill Hicks earlier said he just realized that Allah just is Arabic for God and not like the Muslim God. Because like Arabic Christians for hundreds of years before Islam was born were praising Allah. So,
yeah, Allah just means God. That's all.
And Allah Akbar is just like glory to God. So I mean, as a Christian, you can say Allahu Akbar. You don't have to. You don't gotta blow yourself up or nothing.
Isn't that like why like Sam Shamoon because like the first time I was like watching Sam Shamoon, I was like, why are you saying Allah Akbar so much if you're a fucking Christian, you retard? And then
it is
and then everything started coming together, and I was just like, oh,
right. I mean, it's the connotation. People have the connotation of it being Islamic, but it doesn't have to be. It wasn't Islamic before that. It's the rainbow means God just not gonna flood the earth. Dang it! And the swastika is a symbol of peace. All right. Oh, how you doing? Hey, how you doing? We're just hanging out, man.
Jim Bob. You got to go watch some Djibouti on some what is it called? GTA.
Mr. Bob.
You got to go watch him. You got to go watch them on some GTA and also some Red Dead and get some and form that together because whatever your Jordan Peterson stuff is going to be, it can be great, but just
no,
make it amazing. You are insulting me in your shoulders.
It's just because you have shoulders out. You're threatening him.
Take my shoes.
Didn't Obama play GTA like in 2010? Do you remember that? It's weird to think about how old GTA 5 is. It's a really old game. I was in high school still, I think, when that game came out.
Yeah.
It was a really old
game.
But
I want to see this Jordan Peterson GTA go far and Red Dead Redemption go far. Oh my
gosh. It was when Jesus came that when they were literally like, oh, if a woman, you can just accuse a female of having an affair and murder her, and that's like, okay, that he was he just reminds me of anyone that basically challenged everything. And people would
Jesus was just like a feminist.
Contradict what's in the Old Testament, but however people were interpreting it, they were believing that they were following the Bible to women can't do this. You stone them if they have an affair or if they're accused of having an affair. And Jesus, that
was anybody. Sexual immorality was a no-no.
The famous scene when they were about to stone her, he's like, he who hasn't sinned, cast the first stone.
Stoner?
Saying no one's perfect. And was the first one that I know of that started like speaking to other tribes and other countries that people weren't supposed to, like they were so
he like broke down the borders. Like Jesus was like, just chill out, man.
What kind of stone are you trying to stone me with, bro?
You're trying to tell me that Jesus is the one that gave Moses the law? No, he like came here to be like, that's not good for you, man.
No, there was no Jesus before the law. It was just the law before Jesus, and then that created law and order, and then therefore we have dun law and order SVU.
Dun 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 dun. What's the show that has the black guy that's like, oh man, I'm getting tired of this shit. You know what I'm talking about?
Law and Order.
Oh, is it that show? Yeah, sure.
Yeah,
sure.
I never seen it.
What's that show that all those shows are like the same to me? Just these criminal investigation shows. What's the one? Lethal Weapon? Yeah, I think it's Lethal Weapon. Which have you guys seen the Always Sunny Lethal Weapon parodies? It's pretty good. I've never seen the Wire. They're all the same to me. NCIS. Yeah, sir. Do you have a license for those shoulders? I'm sorry, sir, but I'm gonna have to confiscate your shoulders. You got pulled over on without a shoulder. What was I saying? Oh yeah, what's the one like with the smart techie dude got put on heroin or something like that. He became an addict. You know what I'm talking about?
No. I watch too much YouTube.
Racist and prejudice, and this is where my heart opened up. Is like he stood for this love and this God that broke down all these barriers and just flipped what all the scholars and everything was saying on its head. And
yeah, he like gave the law, and then he was like, "Shoot, I shouldn't have done that."
That's where I found that. I believe that he was crucified because he went so far like against the grain at the time. And I get what you're saying too. Like there's stuff where it's like, oh, that's convenient, where human beings can add in that this is there and that's not. But something else that I always was curious. I'm like, if
look at Wes's face. It's just like a loving father. Like, it's okay. I was stupid once too, son.
See the New Testament, if it was like written by man and stuff and pre-planned, I'm like, I think they would have done a better job of not making a lot of the people so like ignorant. The people that were like literally with Jesus questioning him half the time, like, bro, I don't know if you can do this miracle. And Jesus is like, dude, you just saw me yesterday turn water into wine. And I'm like, if I was writing a story, I'm like, I want everyone to believe this, I would make the people not like is questionable. It's like they have so many characteristics where the humanity in it is.
Yes, that's why scholars, that's one of the reasons why scholars believe that the Gospels are an accurate account of things that happened, because they left all the embarrassing parts in it.
What, like?
Actually, this is where I don't think that's like anywhere near the strongest argument. I'd say that's more of rhetoric, which is hilarious because he was just like, no, get the rhetoric out of here just a minute ago. Like, to me, like, this is anybody, like a skeptic could just say like, oh, well, crazy things happen. They made forgeries and they, didn't want people to think, well, it must have been perfect. If it's perfect, then clearly it's a forge. They wrote some embarrassing things in there to make us think that it must be real. Like it's a rhetorical thing. I don't think it's actually very good evidence.
Always drew me. And like even one thing in the Old Testament that David and Goliath kills Goliath, a man after God's own heart. I'm like, if you're pre-writing this to be the perfect person after God's own heart, then he becomes king. You're gonna like have the story end perfectly. But then he goes off to see he's watching this lady bathe nude, has an affair with her, has her husband killed. It's like, but then goes on to keep praying to God and coming back to God like with a humanity. And God's like, this is a man after my own heart. And it's like finding all these human flaws is, to me, showed so much.
If you watch his face, you can see the thoughts like enter as they're about to go out of his mouth. He's like, there's one, there's another, there's not. He's laying the track out as he's talking.
Like the beautiful struggle that, and I'm not going off everything you guys are talking about, which is factual stuff. I'm just talking from my own experience of ways where I drew and continue to draw my own conclusions. And I'm much more about my relationship with God personally, with Jesus and God. It's the same over worshiping the religion, because so many people can, as we all know, that's what wars are created. Slaves are taken. There's so many horrible things that have been done in the name of religion.
Praise God for Wesley's patience and Billy's patience. Yeah, you can see that like Wesley is ready to go for Billy, and Billy's probably enjoying the fact that Marcus.
Yeah,
it's a dangerous thing for me to have an idea. Whoa. But like, I kind of got tired of people saying like, I fell in love with this religion and not God. And when they want to come to like actual Christianity and everything like that. And I don't know, it sounds kind of retarded to me. Because I mean, forgive me for having an idea. Are we in a religion? You take the camera off me, Wes. Oh no.
Jesus and religion are on opposite spectrums. See, one's the work of God, but one's a man-made invention. See, one is the cure, but the other's the infection. See, because religion says do, Jesus says done. Religion says slave, Jesus says son. Religion puts you in bondage, while Jesus sets you free. Religion makes you blind, but Jesus makes you see. And that's why religion and Jesus are two different clans. Religion is man searching for God. Christianity is God searching for man, which is why salvation is freely mine and forgiveness is my.
Thank you, Martin Luther Cream. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Confederate salute.
I don't know. I can't. I mean, that's, to me, that is like I was saying earlier, Mr. Mark converted to, he found Jesus and immediately was like, I have to be a 2011 evangelical.
He's talking because it gives him time to avoid the conflict.
And it's sad. And that's where Jesus comes back into the game to me. I'm talking, guys, to me, to where he was like the one that was like gathering all these people, all these, like, what are you doing? Like, we're supposed to be here helping each other, loving each other and coming together. Like, you're killing them because they eat meat on Tuesday and they don't eat bacon on Sunday.
Are you following the law that I gave you? guys, it's like not
literally like
supposed to
murdering
do
each
that.
other. It's so messed up. So I get where people look at different organized religion and stuff, and they're like, this is horrible. Like on behalf of Christians, I'm like, I'm fully apologetic for what was it, the Crusades. It's like in the name of Catholicism, there's so many horrible things.
There's also multiple crusades, and this is not to justify them, but when you dig into the history of it, it started as a response to Islamic aggression, and then there was a lot of atrocities that happened. And this is also what happens when church and state are merged, and it causes a whole lot of chaos. But yet,
church and state should be merged. I'm sorry, that's a pretty gay take there, Mr. John. Not you, not you, but hey.
I didn't say anything.
Yeah, no, hey. That's a word concept fallacy. That's a word concept fallacy. You know, there's not just one John. You know. Yeah. And, like,
well, at least we know
Crusades bad, therefore no Christian government.
Because he does spell his name Jon. Like, I don't know what other John spells Jon.
Jon Snow. Jon Snow.
Jon. And he was short.
No, Jon Snow. No, I've read those books. It's Jon Snow with no H.
He was short. I didn't read those books, but he was short.
I read those books while I was working, dude. I got paid to read those books. I worked at Amazon, and it was so boring. Jeff Bezos paid me to read all of the Game of Thrones book in a month. I got so bored working that job. I tried to work that job, I work real fast. I work real good, real fast. And I was like the top performing guy for like 2 months. I was like, what can I do to get a raise or like a promotion? Because look, my name is at the top. It's been there. And they're like, oh, you don't have seniority. You got to be here for like 3 years before I could consider you. I'm like, all right, well, I'm a coast. And that's what I did. I started just for a whole week, just barely being awake while I worked. And I got 160% of my productivity. So I was doing a day and a half of work without trying. So I took my notebook. I'd write the bin that the book was in. I grabbed a book. I read the book. And then at the end of the day, I put it back. And that's how I got paid to read Game of Thrones. So any future employee, I read it. I read all the books.
Did you read it or read it? Because I mean, that's a huge difference. There's a difference between those words, read or read.
Well, the book, only one of them was red. One's green. The first one's like white. No, silver. No, blue. First one's blue. The fifth one's white. What was the question?
Red.
I read the books. I don't read them while I was on clock. I got paid to read them books.
So it's interesting listening to Mark go through all of these. These are popular talking points when it comes to objections.
Oh yeah. So I was saying, any future employers, I'm a good employee. You just gotta let me you gotta like pay me more, and I'll work. But if you're saying that working hard don't matter, then I believe you. So I'm not gonna work hard if you tell me not to. To me, that's being a good employee. Anyways.
About Christianity, and praise God that he's still, even though he has all these questions about it, and these are kind of stumbling blocks for him, praise God that he's still seeking.
I hope not.
But,
I hope not.
It's important to learn about these things.
There's a lot of stuff in those books.
These are some of the most popular questions and some of the most popular pushback towards Christianity. These things that Mark is saying
that human beings have done. And I'm speaking as someone that I would call myself a Christian, and I'm just letting everyone know that I'm an open, critical thinker, and how I've continued to find.
Okay, so let's recap. Ben Carson is saying, Wesley, I'm not going to respond to your argument. I'm going to turn over here and argue against my friend Mark because he's real stupid. That's what we saw earlier. And Mark doesn't even realize that's what's happening. Don't even realize that's what happened to me.
My own beliefs, because I never sat here ignorantly and was like, no, throughout history, they've all been perfect. It's like, through the Crusades, they went through and committed genocide, rape, pillage, some of the most awful stuff, wearing these huge crosses. And I'm like, but God wasn't with them. They said he was, but that's why I also believe in the devil. And I don't believe he's this dude with a pitchfork and a red tail. I think it's more comes, in energy and thoughts, and comes in people. It's like, talk to this guy.
We made a little bit.
I don't think he's ever seen a Halloween costume. Of course, the devil's been red pitchfork and a ponytail.
Well, I think we're looking more of like a both and. I don't know what color the devil's tail is or how big his pitchfork is. And I do think the thoughts, yeah, definitely. Energy, maybe, but I think it's just probably more like it's all bum play. Wait, what does that mean?
The devil is real.
That's
He's not this guy with
tomorrow.
horns and a pitchfork,
That's
but he's an
tomorrow.
actual personal being.
Who's rising in power. You should start conquering that other country in the name of and do it in the name of God. And then that's the way I look at things. So anyway, go ahead. I just
yeah, I mean, there's a really great resource written by a friend of mine, John Dixon. It's a book called Bullies and Saints, where he goes through a lot of the instances of we're obviously going to find abuses, and every human being is going to find a way to exploit whatever is presented to them. So in one sense, I think we can say, isn't it convenient that God used the masculine plural pronoun? Sorry, the masculine pronoun. I keep saying plural, it's just a mistake. The masculine pronoun, and we can say, sure, that's convenient, maybe, but it is how he has.
I know. Don't
he
talk
has
about
himself to us, and it's not his fault if we
Don't
abuse
talk
it.
about
I mean,
that
we could say
guy.
so. I grew up in the Middle East. My parents worked in Amman, Jordan, and when I was living in the Middle East, there was a country.
Everyone said I wouldn't spend a quality teaching degree on.
I am a strong, independent black woman. Click.
Now, just because democracy exists and people are going to name things democratic when they obviously aren't, doesn't mean we then judge democracy. I mean, think of the Democratic Republic of North Korea, right? Nobody thinks that that's an actual representation of democracy. So people
True.
always use
Communism has
terms
never
and
been
ideas at one sense.
tried.
The difference is, though, I think historically within Judeo-Christianity, you have this ethic that we were talking about before that I think is fundamentally different than what we find in things like the Enuma Elish, the Atrasis, and other things, in that we are created in the image of God. And actually, one of the earliest criticisms of Christianity are by individuals like Celsus, who's a Greco-Roman philosopher in the 2nd century, where he accused Christianity of being foolish, dishonorable, and stupid, and he called it the religion of slaves, women, and children. Why? Not because God used the masculine pronoun for himself and people were abusing that, because the concept that Christians believed in of everybody, no matter what your gender, your race, your social standing, Paul says in Christ there is no slave nor free, there is no Jew nor Gentile, there is no Scythian or barbarian, there's no male nor female. These things united people. And we can see there's a historian named Rodney Stark, and in his book, The Rise of Christianity, he actually says that you can track empirically the agency of women across the ancient world by the movement of Christianity. So that, in other words, whenever an area became populated by Christians, we see a direct correlation with the privileges and treatments of women that expand in time when the surrounding culture largely didn't view women as being fully human. So I think we're always going to have abuses, but if there's one worldview that exists, that gives agency to people and says that everybody has worth by nature of being just human, it's the Christian worldview. And that's why I think it's very different. So we can argue about why we think God should or shouldn't have revealed himself in his pronouns, but I think that's actually irrespective of the historical reality that we see within the impact of Christianity, particularly on the West, but around the world, and how it gives agency to the marginalized.
I think that this whole feminism thing could just be like totally bypassed if you just introduce all the blue hairs to the Theotokos. Like you just show them Mary, and then like the blue dye melts away. This is like this is the woman that every generation is going to call blessed. She is a higher saint than I can, like the highest created creature that God made is Christ's own mother. Like we can be deified and everything, but like we would point to Mary as like the first Christian. So Christianity dignifies, honors, and respects women, and feminism, which is weird because like the funny thing is that Mr. Mark is like saying just a lot of like feminist talking points, kind of like just like the be kind to each other, be excellent to each other. But it sounds like he's talking about like a feminist, like a male feminist. And feminism teaches women to be that they are inferior to men and that they should just take on the impossible burden of becoming a man. And that's why feminism crushes women and they look like Gollum after a year or two. But just become acquainted with the Theotokos is all I'm trying to say.
Side note, have you ever seen the movie The Nun? It's from like the what is it called? I can't remember.
2018 horror movie?
Yeah.
I have not.
Okay, well, I mean, it's kind of like a Catholic thing, but they go into Mary a lot in it. And then my girl and I, we went over to some friend's house, and we were gonna watch that. And we did watch it. And then like everybody was just like, "Oh, why is Mary such a big deal?" Blah 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 blah. And like I had to hold my tongue. Like, I didn't know what to do. Like I was just like, do I just like come out and just be like, blah, 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 or do I just It was.
What do you think? He's literally behind me the entire time he's been here. He's with me. What are you talking about?
We're always together.
Yeah, in spirit, in heart. I think about you all the time, John.
Thank you.
I didn't mean for it to come out that gay. I meant for it to be a little bit gay. That was definitely too much. That was too much for me. Oh, my wife. That's
Just
see, yeah, too much.
Just a peck on the cheek, but not like.
I
don't need
So I mean, you could just like quote Calvin and Martin Luther at your Protestant friends, like because they said some pretty good things about the Theotokos.
They did, but like what they were like trying to get into is like there's like no reason why like Mary should be even anything about like Christianity or whatever. There's no reason. I was just like, and then like I gave like, and like my girl saw like the frustration on my face, and she was like, "Do you want to go smoke a cigarette outside?" Like,
sorry, but have you ever heard anyone say that you look like an Olympic jump roper?
Olympic jump rope? What's a jump rope? I do jump rope a lot, actually. So I guess
he's got you figured out, man.
Jim Bob like watching me at the gym, just like.
Yes, I mean, it's really weird, like the anti-Mary stuff in the Protestant. I don't really understand what the impulse is to disparage her.
Maybe it's you guys infected me.
Oh, I'm at fault here. Okay.
Yeah, I'm gonna blame it on you. And yeah, maybe it is like maybe I'm coming around to more things than I'd like to admit. But it's starting to bother me when people are like, Mary's just like a nobody. It's just like, I get it, but I don't get it. And I don't want to get it. And I think like Mary should be held at some kind of I don't know. I don't know.
She gave flesh to God.
Yeah.
I haven't done that.
And then like
I don't know.
The only thing I said when we were there the other night watching that movie, I was like, she is the Theotokos. Everyone was just like, what is that? I was like, I don't want to explain.
She's the God birther.
Yeah.
If you deny that, then you deny the divinity of Christ. So
I was just like, that's a whole nother like, because like her brother is a huge New Age man. Huge New Age.
Okay, give me like say something he would say. Say something he would say.
Our spirituality lies within music.
So it's like all vibrations?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. He has like over 200 something what are they called? The pitchforks. Not like pitchforks, but like the
tuning fork?
Tuning forks, yes. That's what it is. Yeah, he has like over 200 of them.
Is Tobin in the chat? There's no way. There's no way. Is Tobin here? What are you talking about? Anyways, go on.
Yeah, he has like over 200 of them, and I've seen them. He does have a lot. His whole closet is full of tuning forks and these nice foam.
Is he autistic?
He's redhead. I don't know if he's autistic, but
it might be like fingers and thumbs. Maybe all redheads are autistic, but not all autists are redheads. I don't know.
Yeah, but no, he'd yeah, and he one time tried to explain it to me, and I was just like, I was like, I don't understand, man. I don't understand it.
All right. Sure. Let me I looked that up because I don't even know what you're talking about. Let me put on a little something to hold us over. I don't know.
We going crazy. Yeah, we going crazy. Praise her name.
Some people don't like using feminine pronouns like that, praise her name, when talking about God. They like to think of God as a he, and that's cool. But I think we'd all do well to at least occasionally remind ourselves that
There's no galactic nutsack on G. There's no galactic nutsack on G.
Anyways, it's really quiet. Oh, it's
This
sounds off.
Zen teaching, pointing at the moon, the finger that points at the moon is not the moon. What does that mean?
I don't know. You tell me, man.
I'm not going to answer while acting like I'm like really deep. Oh my gosh, that's exasperating.
What is
Where are
this?
they? What is this set? There's like a pallet. Like, just put up. There's a pallet behind them.
Okay.
And it looks like they're like those are like the wallpaper looks like a shower curtain. I feel like it's a very small desk. They're like a little too close to each other. Like Alex O'Connor can feel Rainn Wilson's breath.
What is this like? He has a cup of coffee and a cup of tea. He's like, I don't know which one to have.
Oh, the wide shot really, took an axe to my theory there.
Yeah, I have a chapter in the book called The Notorious God. And I love this conversation. I love a conversation about God. I don't love an old-fashioned YouTube debate about whether God exists.
Yeah,
or
you
not.
kind of open the.
I don't like to use my brain rationally. I just love the conversation. I don't want to hear logical argumentation. I don't want to have my priors questioned and make me think real deep hard. I just want to masturbate with you about what could the cosmic energy be. That's what gets that's what gets me going.
I love the idea of me making love to my wife and us building a relationship, but I just don't want to do anything.
Right. I just want to have a conversation with her about our marriage. I don't want to try to figure out the nitty-gritty details.
Yeah. We good, bitch. We good. Oh, we're good. Okay. All right.
Are you still talking?
Okay.
His wife's like, can you please take out the trash? And he's like, I have a chapter.
I thought you said
on marriage.
Marriage was good. Why do I need to take the trash out?
Here's a British twink, Freddie Mercury.
The chapter by talking about how useless and fruitless YouTube religion
useless and fruitless
debates are.
Yes. It's.
I wasn't going to mention.
So he's giving an argument. He's debating that debates are fruitless and useless. Lyrical miracle. God doesn't want to have a relationship with you. I just want to have a conversation about God.
Well, I know I think it used to be your bread and butter, but I greatly admire how you've expanded your vision to just have big, meaty, beautiful
I don't want to know. I don't want to know what he's going to say next.
Just big, meaty.
I feel like
shoulders,
he's
just like how shoulders are so meaty.
I feel like he's the kind of guy that touches you a little too much. Like as he's talking, he just keeps touching your arm.
It's like
you know what I'm saying?
I feel like he's the kind of guy who would his hand you would put your hand, his hand on the small of your back. Just like, you're doing a good job. He's just like, hey, okay.
Like you keep just kind of slouching his hand off, but it keeps coming back.
Yeah, he's just
his big meaty hand.
And challenging conversations too.
So we can have challenging conversations, but debate bad.
One should, and I hope you'll challenge me as well. But just having Richard Dawkins versus some priest and them fighting it out. And, there's a lot of kind of angry 23-year-olds at home going, oh, you landed a good point there. Oh, yeah, you got him, Dawkins. It's kind of like Jake Paul versus Mike Tyson.
I was just thinking that, yeah.
And it doesn't really change the atmosphere. But I do think, so the finger pointing at the moon. So
Finger pointing at the moon.
Isn't that like that's like an old like Buddhist thing? The finger pointing at the moon is not the moon. That part of spirituality is realizing that we're getting the referent wrong. That we think the finger pointing at the moon is the moon, and spirituality is going, no, that's a finger, not the moon, or something. I don't know.
I think people often confuse. So when I read that in your book, I thought of this. I keep quoting this poem by C.S. Lewis, and there's a point where he says, "Thoughts are but coins. Let me not trust instead of thee, a thin-worn image of thy head." It's like
that was way too elegant and poetic for Rainn Wilson. I don't. Wow, you said words and they like rhymed, but I just want to have like the tough conversations. You know, I want to be able to relate to things with Jake Paul and Mike Tyson. You're who did you read poetry? I don't.
People often worship their thoughts more than they worship the thing that their thoughts are supposed to be directed to, and so you end up with these ideas of God and these pictures in your head, and
that's why you shouldn't do the rosary. Rosary bad. Don't do the rosary.
His mug.
Oh, it says soul boom.
Yeah, like he stole my idea. I was gonna make those actually, and I was gonna sell it for Christmas. What? I was gonna
make serious?
Mugs. No.
Oh. Okay.
Isn't it Wittgenstein who talks about the fishbowl? I don't have the quote right on the tip of my fingers. It's something about like how fly glass were caught, like flies caught in a glass, and the glass is the limitations of our language to be able to summate stuff that is, beyond the beyond.
Yeah.
And we're stuck like flies popping around in this fly glass because our language is so limited to try and encapsulate something that is kind of beyond our current consciousness's understanding.
It's impossible to comprehend just how much our language restricts our thinking.
There's no galactic nutsack on G. There's no galactic nutsack on G.
Language, he who knows one knows
stuck in character.
Because without this comparison, it's difficult to even recognize the constraints that you have in your language. I did a podcast recently with a.
Oh my God!
Just piggybacking off of what Wes is saying,
Dude,
if you go,
he
has a video.
Dwight is so stuck in character. Like he's still stuck in Dwight. He's still stuck in Dwight. He's just like
no. Dwight's more based. Clearly, Dwight's more based than Rainn. I want to see a Dwight versus Rainn debate.
He'll show the data points of what.
Oh! They heard me talking about getting paid to read walls on clock.
Is your daddy?
Just did a debate against an atheist where they were discussing whether or not Christianity or secularism is better for humanity, and that was a really good conversation as well. So definitely head over to Inspiring Philosophy.
Definitely don't do that. He believes in evolution. Evolution's stupid. Let's move on.
On YouTube. Don't do that right now, though. Stay here and hit that like button.
Wes, can I ask you one?
Yeah, here too.
Because I'm always interested in this. Like you were raised Christian. I always think about this. Like my wife who's Muslim, and our beliefs at the core are so similar, but there's some differences. And I wonder, like, if I was born in Sierra Leone, West Africa, where she was, I know the Bible says Christ revealed, but C.S. Lewis is someone that I really respect because I'm an entrepreneur. I'm thinking outside the box always, and we should be. No one should just be like sheep and follow what any of us are saying.
Well, we should be like sheep and follow Jesus and just listen to what he tells us.
Like, do your research on your own with everything, of course. But what led you, sorry, going back to C.S. Lewis real quick, he was a famous scholar who was once an atheist, set out on a journey to basically disprove the Bible. As he went to do that, he himself found out that to be like one of the most historically accurate written books, which really shocked him. He then became a Christian after that. He's done the Narnia movies, Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe, or their books. They weren't movies when he passed away. But he has an amazing, I love people like him because he doesn't just act like, he always was questioning everything. He's like, why is there this going? Why are these little kids dying, God, when they're, but something that he continued to come up with, which reminded me so much of Jesus and the love conquers all things too, is when so many people overly get caught up on religion over the relationship. And he's like, I've actually met.
Oh, do I need to pull up the spoken word again? I have to pull up the spoken word again. Okay. Here, I'm going to, okay. Hold on.
There's no galactic nutsack on G. There's no galactic nutsack on G.
Let him in. See, remember, he was called a glutton and a drunkard by religious men, but the Son of God never supports self-righteousness, not now, not then. Now, back to the point, one thing is vital to mention. how Jesus and religion are on opposite spectrums. See, one's the work of God, but one's a man-made invention. See, one is the cure, but the other's the infection. See, because religion says do, Jesus says done. Religion says slave, Jesus says son.
Fun.
Religion puts you in bondage, while Jesus sets you free. Religion makes you blind, but Jesus makes you see. And that's why religion and Jesus are two different clans. Religion is man searching for God. Christianity is God searching for man.
Some atheists that are closer to God without even knowing it. And
no, they're not.
I've met Christians that are further away from God without even knowing it.
So,
okay, wait. This is the part I want to talk about. Okay, what do you think about their two different takes?
Conquers all things too is when so many people overly religion over the relationship, and he's like, I've actually met some atheists that are closer to God without even knowing it. And
no, they're not.
I've met some Christians that are further away from God without even knowing it.
So I'm just going to interject here. If you are a Christian, you are as close to God as you are going to be in this life, whether you feel like you are or not. If you are truly a Christian, you are as close to God as you'll ever be until the next life. If you are not a Christian, you are as far from God as you will ever be until the next life. Right? So that statement that Mark made is just false. And I'm sure he's referring to people who claim to be Christian, but aren't acting very Christ-like, which we can all be guilty of. But I just wanted to interject and point that out.
And I believe that too.
So what did you think about that? That was the biggest part, really, I wanted to highlight, other than all the dumb Billy Carson stuff.
I would say that if you are a Christian, that is the closest way you're ever going to get to Christ. If you're not
okay, well, so let's break down what he's saying. He's saying if you are a Christian, that is as closest to Christ you will get in this life. You cannot get closer. You cannot get further. And if you're an atheist, then you cannot get further than God unless in this life. Like you're as far away from God as you can get, and you need to become a Christian so you can get to as close to God as you can get in this life. That's what I got out of that.
Yeah.
Is that what you think he said?
I would. Yeah, I guess I would.
Do you agree or disagree, or similar but different, or how would you describe what you believe compared to that?
I would say within this, if you are a Christian within this life, this is the closest you're going to get. And then once we die and we move on and we get to heaven, all that stuff, we become even closer to him.
Yeah, I would I would agree with that part, but I would pretty vehemently disagree with, I mean, pretty much the whole structure of what he said. To me, that's like very legalistic. That's just a very legalistic way to look at salvation and the relationship of with God. That you have this like legal status of as close as you can be. You can't do anything to get closer or further, and it's just like a legal courtroom system. Because I mean, to me, I really empathize with the Mark guy who said that there are atheists that are closer to God than some people that call themselves Christians. I totally agree with that. I know, and I would say that that's just the law written on their hearts, that they, from an atheist view, if an atheist was going to be consistent with their atheist priors, there wouldn't be any reason for them to be kind or charitable or anything. Maybe you could say that from like a selfish, like karma perspective or something, but really, like Dostoevsky says it well, that if there is no God, then I am God, and all things are permissible. So atheism, you cannot get away from nihilism if you're going to be consistent. But most think, glory to God, most atheists are not consistent. Most of them actually have a lot of Christian underlying beliefs. Even though they deny Christianity, they still like they want the fruits of Christianity with denying the tree of it. So they want the Christian morals and the ethics, and they want like the image of God and the dignity of man, even though they believe in evolution, which completely destroys that concept. They believe in mutually exclusive, contradictory things. But so I think I've met a lot of atheists that are moral and like would abide by, are trying to abide by essentially a Christian morality in some regard. And they're like striving to be better people or whatever. And I would say that's like the law written on their hearts. I'm not saying that they're not partaking the Eucharist. They're not Christian. They're not in the church. They're not like following that normative path of salvation, but they are.
Yeah, I know.
In a normative contradiction going towards God in some way. Like I know a lot of atheists like that are like, why would you be doing these Christian things when that's like very against what you believe? Like if you're consistent, it just doesn't make any sense.
Okay, so can you explain to me a little bit of the? Maybe I just don't understand it. The legalism point of view of it. Like I don't understand what like.
Okay.
There's so many
so
I still don't understand.
Yeah. So like with him, because he's doing like a once saved, always saved. Like, and this would be like your tulip, like perseverance of the saints is kind of how I'm hearing the other John say, like, if you are a Christian, that's as close as you can get to God. But I would say that like everything you do and how you live and how you cultivate your thought life, your spiritual life, all that, you're either moving towards God or you're moving away from God. But you're not really standing still. You're always doing things that are moving you towards God or away from God. And this like I literally look at it as like a legal system. Like it's pure legalism. The once saved, always saved. It's just like you get your legal stamp. You're in the courtroom. The judge smashes the gavel. You are Christian. You're a Christian. You're saved. You never get closer to God. That's just not like the spiritual life. Like, and even with him, like I'm sure he has some kind of view of like sanctification in his Protestant understanding, but it's all just this legal status. So what would the point of living a Christian life, striving for virtue and trying to overcome the passions? What would be? It's almost like monopoly money or something like that. Like it doesn't really matter because when you die, you're just going to go to heaven anyways. Like you've already got your eternity is sealed. Like you've got your golden ticket. You've said the incantation. You said the sinner's prayer. Like it's like I said, it's legalism. It's God sees you as you are. He doesn't see you as just a legal status of redeemed or unredeemed. He sees you as you are, and you are every day moving towards him or moving away from him. That's the path of theosis. Is in this life we were always the Christian life is moving towards God. That is becoming God through becoming what Jesus is by nature through grace. So we're acquiring the Holy Spirit. We are acquiring the divine energies. And that's the spiritual life. So every day we should be trying to get closer to God. But he's saying that you can't. If you have the legal status of Christian, then you are as close as you'll get. And to me, that's what I believed when I was a Protestant. I believed that like 5 years ago. But now I look at that and it's just when you believe it, you don't realize how legalistic it is. But it's like one of the most legalistic Protestant beliefs there are. And I know a lot of people have the connotation that legalism means like moralism, but I wouldn't say that's like the only connotation that legalism has. That's not Nads. That is Mr. Monroe Goon right here behind me. So what do you think about that? I mean, any of that makes sense?
Yeah, totally all makes sense. I would have to
like why would
wait, sorry, go ahead.
Like, why would Christ say to follow his commandments? Why would he say, pick up your cross and follow me? Why would he say, sell your possessions, feed the poor, tend to my sheep? He's clearly telling it, like he's saying, like there are things to do. Like there are ways that you can follow me, and there's ways that you can abandon me. Like, and like with the once saved, always saved stuff. I know there's like almost like the Catholic annulment, like you weren't really married stuff with like if you look at Judas, like Judas followed Jesus for 3 years, and he was in his ministry, and he probably cast out demons. He probably did all these things. He was with Christ, and he betrayed him. But Peter betrayed Christ too. They both betrayed Christ. Judas killed himself. Peter repented. Judas wasn't saved, Peter was. But from a once saved, always saved legalism perspective, I don't understand how Judas wouldn't be saved because he followed Christ, just as Peter did.
Yeah, and I don't know. That's just like one of the things I've been kind of questioning about a little bit lately of the once saved, always saved kind of thing is like, what am I supposed to do? Like, if I fall away from Christ for like, let's just say like hypothetical 3 months or whatever, does that what does that do to me? Like,
right. I mean, you've also said that you did fall away for a time, and you lived in Vegas and didn't live a moral life, and you've come back. So I mean, you've had that prodigal son experience of coming back, but you can choose to. You have agency. You can choose to do that again if you wanted to, right? Or you're in a bad place, and you make a decision, whatever.
Yeah, and even like still today, like even like till today, like I still there's so many things that are just like bombard me every day, where it's just like, I just need to go and get drunk. I just need to go do this, or I just would rather just stay home and just wank off, or I just would rather just. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what it is. There's so many things. You know, like I could fall away. I can do this, do that, whatever. But that can't be the defining moment of my salvation.
Right.
And in my like, I know I'm horrible at articulating things or whatever.
It's all good.
But just because I struggle, it doesn't mean that I'm not, at least. I don't mean to sound this like but it doesn't mean I'm not trying.
Yeah, well, I mean, like that's the Christian life is struggling. It is you fall down and you get up, you repent, you confess, you get absolution. Like that's why we have confession in the Orthodox Church. Like you're gonna sin, and you have the choice to continue living in it, to hide it, to confess it. But you have that choice. So it's interesting that you're struggling with this, the once saved, always saved, because I'd say that's a pretty big part of Calvinism. That's the P in tulip. That's the perseverance of the saints.
Yeah. And I don't know. It's just I'm starting to get tired of like the whole thing, like, because I did talk to a couple of people where there's like, well, maybe you haven't fully accepted Christ as your Lord and Savior. It's like, no.
How do you know then? Like, just do it harder, do it hard. But then you're getting into like Pentecostal stuff. Like, I have to feel it, man. Like,
yeah, and then like
that's the annulment thing I'm talking about. It's like retcon. Oh, you were never really saved, because you fell away.
And I was talking to them, and like, I did lose myself a little bit in that conversation because they did really piss me off. But I was like, really fucking retard. I was like, I'm fucking doing everything I fucking heard. like you don't get it. Like I'm doing it, but like I want to sin so badly.
Yeah, I mean that's part of the problem is that it feels good, don't it? Like,
yeah, it feels so.
You have
like
all these reward systems in your brain. That's like that feel good, man.
Mm-hmm.
Doing the easier thing feels good.
It feels so good, like just do whatever I want to do. It just feels good. I have fun, like that. I can come back home. I can go to church on Sunday, repent, feel good until Tuesday. After Tuesday, I can do whatever I want until Friday, and then Friday I'll get like myself back into church mode until Sunday, and then I can come back to church. I was like, but that's bullshit.
Yeah, then I mean, not saying you particularly, but like,
yeah,
that's the difference between repentance and struggling and being a hypocrite, right? Like somebody that is fighting against being a drunkard and is doing what they can and they keep lapsing and they're actually trying is different than somebody who's like, I'm gonna drink tonight and tomorrow, like, it'll be good. Like, I got my golden ticket. I'm saved. I got the legal status of Christian or whatever. Like, it's all good. I'll be Christian on Sunday. I mean, that's a totally different, might be like very similar externals, behaviors, but the heart and is totally different between somebody who's struggling and somebody who's just okay with the sins and thinking that they've got, an abundance of grace.
Yeah, and I don't feel like I have just like I don't feel like I can just go to a vending machine and just pull out grace whenever I want it to fall upon me. I reject that idea. I know a lot of people who are like, oh, well, as long as you just you can go and have an orgy, and then just when you're done with it, if you just say, "Oh God, forgive me," it's fine. But then next week you're gonna do the exact same thing.
Well, Well, it's almost crazy to me. Like going back to the beginning of this topic with the new evangelical saying that he knows atheists that are closer to God, and then the more tenured evangelical saying that that's not true, that it's the legalistic view. You could, with that, I could feel like you could do a juxtaposition between the atheist who follows part of God's commandments because it's written on their hearts, versus the once saved always saved Protestant who just like has a license to sin, and like they feel like they're good. Right? That's why I really think that the perseverance of the saints. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know what I'm saying? You see what I'm saying? Like,
yeah, I guess I see it. Now.
That's what I'm trying to say. I think there's something to it, that there are atheists who are much closer, even though cognitively they don't say they believe in God, but they're living more a Christian life, trying to follow the commandments, trying to acquire virtue, even though it's opposed to their own presuppositions. But you have these lackadaisical hypocrites that have the golden ticket. They've got the golden ticket, but they're living in sin, right?
I've met those people, and they like piss me off so bad, because like they're just like this person who's just like, I want nothing to do with Christ, blah blah, but they're just like, they're like.
Well, what's crazier is that they're both that the once saved always saved Christian is living in accordance with their beliefs when they're sinning and being a hypocrite, because they're what they're doing, their behaviors are actually in line with their presuppositions. If I cannot get further from God by sinning, I'm going to go to heaven no matter what. I've got my golden ticket. Then yeah, it makes sense to just do whatever you want. It feels good because like you got your golden ticket. God sees you as a redeemed saint, a spotless lamb. But the atheist believes that nothing matters. We're going to die, and we're not going to be remembered in 1,000 years if we're lucky. And we're just matter in motion. There's no such thing as, there's no such thing as a soul. This, and even if we did get remembered, there's the heat death of the universe we have to deal with, and it's all just going to end in death and nothingness. And when we die, we just totally dissolve. And I want to become a tree. That atheist is acting more in line with like trying to acquire virtue and overcome their passions sometimes than the Christian who thinks they have a license for sin. That's what, but it's weird. No. Anyways, huh? Oh, okay, my baby's got a fever. That's not good.
Uh-oh.
I guess we'll keep going. That was like the main thing. I mean, we could keep going, but
no, that's
to me that was like the thing that I thought was the biggest jumping off part of this whole thing, and I didn't know where it was. I was going to scrub or nothing. Did you have any other thoughts on the once saved always saved stuff? I know you're still kind of struggling with it, and it seems like you're having interesting experiences with your friends there.
Yeah, it's just it's interesting because like a lot of the Christians that I know are just like, I'm not gonna say about all of them that I know, but a lot of them that I do know is just like, well, I'm Christian, so
a lot.
Go do this. A lot, but we can just go and I'm Christian. I already did what I got to do. I confessed my sins. I accepted Jesus Christ as my Lord and Savior, and therefore He's going to be loving to me and judge me righteously. So therefore, I can just go and do whatever I want to do because therefore I'm already in His hands. And I'm starting to see like I'm not buying that. Like I'm not buying that. Like I don't think just because we accept Jesus Christ as our Lord and Savior or whatever, or you can go and proclaim that, you can say that, whatever. But what are you doing? Because like I said, like there's a whole lot of like atheist people that I do know who are way better people than I am.
Yeah.
They're
despite it being a performative contradiction, like I said.
Yeah. There's just a whole lot more better people. They're like, I've never even touched alcohol. I've never touched tobacco. I've never done this. I don't even watch porn. I don't do this. I don't do that. All I want to do is help people. It's just like,
yeah, those people exist.
Just like, you're killing me. You're killing me.
So this is in response to like you saying that, like, I'm good. I'm a child of God. Like it don't matter. I can do what I want. Therefore, the kingdom of heaven can be compared to a king who decided to bring his accounts up to date with servants who had borrowed money from him. In the process, one of his debtors was brought in who owed him millions of dollars. He couldn't pay, so his master ordered that he be sold, along with his wife, his children, and everything he owned, to pay for the debt. But the man fell down before his master and begged him, "Please be patient with me, and I will pay it all." Then his master was filled with pity on him, and he released him and forgave his debts. But when the man left the king, he went to a fellow servant who owed him a few $1,000s. He grabbed him by the throat and demanded instant payment. His fellow servant fell down before him and begged for a little more time. "Be patient with me, I will pay it," he pleaded. But his creditor wouldn't wait. He had the man arrested and put in prison until his debt could be paid in full. When some of the other servants saw this, they were very upset. They went to the king and told him everything that had happened. Then the king called in the man he had forgiven and said, "You evil servant, I forgave you that tremendous debt because you pleaded with me. Shouldn't you have mercy on your fellow servant just as I had mercy on you?" Then the angry king sent the man to prison to be tortured until he had paid his entire debt. That's what my heavenly Father will do to you if you refuse to forgive your brothers and sisters from your heart. There are other verses similar to that. So
I remember that one now.
yeah, and if you what is the one off the top of my head? It's like if you do not forgive, then you will also not be forgiven.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
yeah, there's still a lot of things I'm thinking about. Still a lot of things that have been weighing on my heart about. A lot of things. It's just I'm starting to see the difference. There's a huge difference. There's a really huge difference. I mean, like, despite what like online stuff wants to say about things, it's like, and it's weird because like I come up to like people that I know with like these questions that I have, and sorry I can't think of any of the questions right now, but like they're just like, oh well, I can never get an answer out of anybody about anything.
Just believe in God.
Yeah,
just like trust in God.
Yeah, trust in God. He will show you the way. I'm like, what if I am on the way?
Right.
well, because you just gotta wait and see.
We'll find out. I do commend you for wrestling with this stuff and continuing to show up in spaces like this and actually wrestling with it and trying to figure it out. Yeah, because there's a lot of people that they just continue to give the same argument over and over and not listening to the responses for it. And forgive and forget, a recipe for being taken advantage of by your fellow secularist. I mean, you can. I mean, there's limits to stuff.
Yeah. Unlike
be
Billy
wise
Carson.
as serpents, innocent as doves.
Yeah. Unlike Billy Carson, if I'm proven wrong about something, I'm not just gonna.
You just move on to the next thing.
Yeah, I'm not
gonna
move sue you. Or just move on. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Okay. Yeah. I forgot. Let's we can end the Billy Carson stuff with that development since that happened earlier. Let me pull.
Everybody, we gotta bring it all back together now.
Yeah, bring it on back. Here we go.
Billy got old Billied.
Billy Carson is attempting to sue me. For those of you who don't know, I was invited to interact with Billy on a podcast that he agreed to come on. It was not his podcast, where he was notified beforehand who I was and what we'd be talking about. After that debate took place, Billy attempted to suppress the footage. That didn't really work. I've released clips from that conversation. While Billy does not want you to see those clips and has sent me a cease and desist letter. I was really hoping that this could be an opportunity for Billy to learn, to see the major errors that he's been repeating and turn this into a learning experience. I even offered to follow up with Billy in order to show him how and where he could find accurate and credible resources in order to make sure that what he was saying was verifiably correct going forward in the future, so he and his audience could learn and proceed knowledgeably. Billy did not agree. But unfortunately for Billy, agreeing to a debate, losing that debate, and feeling embarrassed about that loss does not constitute legitimate grounds to litigate. Billy, I will agree to all the terms and conditions of the cease and desist letter that you have sent me if you agree to run it back, sit down with me in person, and have another discussion. This is my formal response.
My other closing thought with the debate was it's kind of like with the sola scriptura line of argumentation. It shows like the limits of evidentialism when you can clearly, through an evidentialist argument, like point to a certain conclusion. The guy has a worldview that just isn't going to deal with your objection. So having like a presuppositionalist approach, being able to attack the framework, the worldview he's using to interpret data, can be a lot faster and maybe more productive than just arguing about the data, even though I think he did a really good job at an evidentialist approach. And I'm not saying you should be totally anti-evidentialist, but with Billy Carson, he's not really using a lot of brain cells. So just attack the brain cells instead of trying to get his couple brain cells to look at an argument, look at some evidence.
Yeah, this was a really interesting, I wouldn't even call it a debate. It was just like a.
It was really squishy for a debate. I mean, the moderator was just talking about his fifis for a bit.
Mm-hmm. He was like, "Well, you see, I went to church and they made me do push-ups, and then I came."
And Jesus is just like a really good version of my mom. Like Jesus is just like the best mom to have. That's how I like to look at Jesus. He's like my mommy.
Yeah. My mom always loved me. She always gave me tater tots whenever I wanted them, and everything was so good.
An idyllic childhood. I had an idyllic childhood, and now here I am, weak.
The only show you want, the only show you need, it'll get you high, get you wise. Buddy is the place to be.
He asked me to punch me and he knocked all my teeth out, and I realized it's because our Haitian neighbor came in and they needed it to put on string for their voodoo. My Christian Haitian neighbor is using my teeth for voodoo.
Buddy, the only show you want, the only show you need, it'll get you high, get you wise. Buddy is the place to be.
Whoa.
I've got a vagina.
Everyone have a wonderful weekend. I hope you enjoyed this. And may God bless all of you guys. Am I the only one here? All right.
There's no galactic nutsack on G. There's no galactic